please. Everybody will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We will now enter into our public hearing to discuss our 2021 Comprehensive Plan update. Paul, would you like to kick off and see where we are?
So we are at the point of the comprehensive plan process where we are reviewing what we've come up with as a committee. And I'm Paul Gerald. I took on the role of preparing your comprehensive plan from my colleague Ken Dutton, who is now with the county. But I was glad to do so. It's good to work with you all. And so I took over for where she left off, and we got a draft for you. And as you all know, the comprehensive plan is required by all local governments in the state of Georgia. And what it basically does is puts into place, it puts on the paper and codifies your vision for the next 20 years. Although the plan is updated every 5, the vision and the visionary statements and the visionary goals that go into the plan are a 20-year vision. And the plan consists of a needs assessment, basically, a policy and goals section, a future land use character area section, and your implementation portion of the plan is what's called the community work program, and that's at the very end of the document. And a part of that, there's 2 parts to that. The first part is the report of accomplishments, and that is reporting on your previous 5-year project list or work program. So you give yourself a report card in that, and then you create the next 5-year plan as well. So I think the plan is pretty much ready for review. I think we've got a few things that we're going to tweak before we actually send it off to the Department of Community Affairs for official review. But I think it's ready for at least general perusing and that kind of thing. We did make some pretty, I wouldn't say substantial, but some maybe appropriate changes to the character area map. We kind of did some ground truthing, and we wanted to make sure that what we were saying is happening on the ground there, and what we want to see in the future in those areas is actually depicted on the map and as part of that future land use narrative. So I don't have the side-by-sides, but you may notice the some commercial areas either grew or changed or moved or something like that. And actually what we called, I forgot what we called it before, but what became your old town in this plan is, it was called
the historic area.
Yeah, and that was kind of confusing because there's no real historic designation for that, right. Other than your zoning ordinance. There you go. That's the old one. Yeah.
Shoot.
The one that I printed out should have the new one in it, though.
Yeah, if you flip to page 16 in your book, in your draft plan in front of you, you'll see the new one.
And so that's the Old Town section there. That's the historic core of the city. That's where most of your historic resources are. So what we did was we took it from, so that it is going to be had this now. Actually, there's the before, and what you've got in front of you in paper is the updated version that we have. So as you can see, that center area there is what we call the historic area before. But actually, according to your zoning ordinance and your zoning map, you have a designation of Old Town, which is larger than that. So we expanded that area to reflect your zoning ordinance. So that really picked up everything that you kind of would consider as the heart and soul of historic Sharpsburg. And I kind of took that, and even before we looked at the zoning ordinance, I kind of remembered seeing the signs, coming through here for many years, seeing the Old Town Sharpsburg shops. And I thought, we need to call that Old Town. So that's reflected in this plan. So, but the historic area kind of maybe future overlay, maybe future historic district is not gone. We've incorporated that language into the plan. So maybe a future National Register nomination might, come about, but I think the area that's reflected now is basically what's in your zoning ordinance. So I think you even require maybe some special design requirements in that area. So at least just specific zoning to that area. So there's that. We did designate a corridor in this year's update. So as you can see, the corridor along 54 is designated a highway corridor. We know that that's a very highly trafficked corridor in the town. And we wanted to kind of call it out on its own, as this is something that this is an area that needs special attention. We want to bring out if there's extra commercial activity there or extra development in that corridor. We want to make sure that there's landscaping requirements, that people come through and they're not barraged by ugliness and, you know.
And
so
that kind of corridor will allow us to apply for DOT grants and other planning dollars to traffic improvements,
yeah,
better plantings, you know,
right.
Signage.
So we know you have other corridors, but 16 is still remaining pretty rural. You don't have any real pertinent commercial pressure there. So we didn't designate that as an entry corridor. That's kind of a side entrance, really. Your main traffic corridor is 54 there, so that's why we called it out. And as you see in the plan as well, we've starred the main entrances to the city. So that is on 16, 154, and 54. Mm-hmm. And those places will just be kind of that's where the city limits meets the unincorporated county. And you may want to incorporate some extra signage there, some welcome signage, some substantial looking. I know you've got some already, but we talked about some even extra efforts there. So I think those are the main changes that we've got for you. We combined a couple of commercial designations. So in the old plan, you can see that purple and the orange. One was, I believe, neighborhood commercial, and one was highway commercial. Mm-hmm. When it comes to a future land use map, we kind of thought that was just there wasn't a big enough change between the two to designate a different area on the map. So we combined those into one commercial development category. But nothing really changed when it comes to what's on the ground there. That's just, we just wanted to make it clearer for the reader of the plan to look at that and make more sense in the map. So, but once we finalize the plan, so the plan is in a draft form now. I'll sit down with the mayor and anybody else who wants to have a little bit of input before we actually make it an official draft, and we'll submit it to the Department of Community Affairs for official review. That's about a 30-day review. After we get that review back, they'll either okay it and say you're green lighted to adopt, or they may suggest some advisory changes.
So they can trump the desires of the town?
No. When they comment on the plan, it's usually basically they go back to what they require in the state planning rules, and it's all based on that. They say nothing about growth patterns, or nothing. They don't say anything about the substance of what the town wants in the plan. It's basically is it meeting the requirements, basically. So, and when we get the green light from DCA, you'll be able to adopt. So hopefully that will happen. I'm not sure if it'll happen quick enough in September, but hopefully at your meeting in October.
Okay. Which is in line with the plan and the timeline that we've been set forth by the state. We have to have it adopted per DCA's of October 31st.
Right. Okay. That's when your QLG, your Qualified Local Government Status, expires or renews. And that's what keeps you eligible for loans, grants, permits, everything. So, yeah. And that's all. But the plan is available. I can email it to you, or we'll put it on, once we finalize this draft, we'll put it on the website, maybe, and have it there for the public to look at. I do have a larger version of the newest map, so I can go ahead and give you that, so you can have it here and post it up.
Okay, excellent. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah.
So do we have any questions from council for Mr. Gerald about the comp plan or any of the next steps with it?
I don't.
Okay. Typically, because this is a public hearing, would open, questions to the public. Ms. Moore, do you have any questions? I'll introduce you when we get a little bit further down, but do you have any questions or comments as a audience member?
Do you have any requirements for within the city of the old town, any building requirements to meet the existing ambiance of the downtown area?
The current zoning standards have it in there that it will imitate and have that older facade, but it's I believe it's currently in there.
Oh, awesome.
But you could take that a step further.
Right.
And that might be part of the recommendations that we have, is maybe a future overlay which requires certain design standards and that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we're looking at doing in 22 is reworking our zoning ordinance, and that would be the time that we say, we want this overlay on this specific streets with these particular architectural standards.
Yeah.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we're very excited about it, the potential. All right, there being no other questions from the public, go ahead and end the public hearing portion. Mr. Clerk, do we have a quorum available?
We do have a quorum available.
All right, excellent. First item on the agenda is to review and approve our council meeting minutes from June 7th, 2021. If y'all will take a moment and review those, please. It's the last 2 or 3 pages on your packet.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
All right, we have, Elizabeth has the first.
You looking for a second?
Yes, sir.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
I wasn't present.
All right, unanimous, I guess? All right, thank you all very much. The next part on the agenda is the appointment of our new town clerk, Mr. Floyd L. Jones. For those of you that have not met him, I think everybody here has, this is our new clerk, Floyd. He comes to us from Fayette County, and we are just excited and excited that he's here. Brad, would you like to swear him in?
Well, if y'all will make a motion to appoint.
Okay. Can I get a motion from council to appoint Mr. Jones as town clerk?
Make a motion.
All right.
Second it.
Elizabeth has the first,
I second.
and then Cynthia has the second. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, you'll raise your right hand. Can you get us all in the picture?
Got you right where you're at.
All right. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully and truly perform the duties of town clerk of this town, that I will support and defend the United States Constitution, Constitution of the State of Georgia, and the Charter of the town of Sharpsburg, to the best of my skill and ability, and as to me shall seem, to the best interest and welfare of the town without fear, favor, or affection. I do further swear or affirm that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for money, for public money due this state or any political subdivision or authority thereof, and that I am not the holder of any office or trust under the government of the United States, any other state, or any foreign state by which the laws of the state of Georgia I am prohibited from holding, and that I will am otherwise qualified to be a public officer according to the Constitution and the laws of the state of Georgia, so help me God.
I do and swear.
It's good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You get to keep one, I get to take one back.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I'll let you, I'll get us in your town records, and I'm gonna file this with clerk appropriately.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, that's always fun.
I know.
Swearing.
Yeah, it's better to be
Yeah, swear and
It's
then sworn out.
sworn out, sworn at.
Sworn at. I was gonna say sworn at.
It's better to be sworn in than sworn out. All right. So, thank you, Floyd. We're excited to have you. He's actually been here for about 2 weeks, and just, settling in, learning the ropes, finding out where all the papers are and where the files sit, and he's been a good addition to the team.
Yep.
Look forward to having him, and then look forward to doing a lot of positive things. We don't have any old business on the agenda. I'll go to public comments for a second. Anything? I'm gonna come back into the introductions in just a second. So now rolling over to the polling of council. Tom, you want to go first? Do you have anything?
No.
Okay. Cynthia?
No, sir.
All right. Miss Elizabeth?
No.
All right. Clerk's minutes. Mr. Clerk, do you have any minutes or announcements for us?
Actually, I do. First of all, I just want to say thank you for the appointment and for the trust. And it's been fun working here so far, and looking forward to great days ahead. With regard to, I guess, my first initial statement, be aware, especially if you're up for re-election this year, that starting on August the 16th through the 18th, if you wish to qualify, you need to do so at the Coweta County Elections voter registration from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And Jane was pretty clear. 4:30 on Wednesday is your deadline. If you don't make it, it's 4:31, you're out. So she wants to make sure you're aware. That's what I have so far, and I'll be glad to repeat if need be.
Okay, wonderful.
All right, thank you.
So a couple of updates that I've got for everybody. I'd like to introduce Miss Angelica Moore. Miss Moore was one of the applicants for town clerk. And since we had such an awesome interview group that we had, Miss Moore didn't get the town clerk position, but her passion and the way that she was energetic about the town and her ideas, Terrell Jacobs suggested that we hire Miss Moore or contract with Miss Moore as a community center liaison or coordinator or some kind of title. What she's going to work on is increasing events, participation in classes here at the community center. We have got her working on instructor-led classes first. Once she brings a handful of those in here, then she'll start handling some of the rentals, she'll start doing some of the outside events, and we will just slowly but surely build upon our success. So if you want to just talk, Angie, for a few minutes about what you like to do, where you're from, a little bit about yourself, the floor is yours.
Hi, I'm Angie. That's easier with it. Still taking a long name. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I love this town. I remember when I moved here how active, and it has saddened me to see, it had kind of gone back a little bit. So when I interviewed, we talked about it, and some of the things that I've spoken to Mr. Jones and Mayor Cole is doing things that will build the community. For example, I'll give you an example. Today I went to Coweta CrossFit, and the gentleman there, Justin, is excited about maybe doing classes and running classes here. So even trying to bring some of the businesses that are here to do some activities within the community center. I think it helps build relationships in both directions. So that's one of the things that I've been working on. Of course, I'm going to be working with the market people and having food trucks. I would eventually like to have enough classes during the day that we can have a food truck maybe once or twice a week. So people that are coming in can get food, people that are leaving. You don't want to cook, you just got home from work. Oh, the food truck's over at the community center, let's go over there and get something to eat. So I don't have to cook. So those are the kind of things that I've been throwing around, and I'm so excited. I want to cry. This is like my dream job. It really is, because it's not. So I hope that if anyone has any suggestions or knows anybody that would like to, do things and be part, or you have names of people that work or have businesses, even home businesses. If you have someone that has a home business, those people, we want them too. We want everybody to feel part of the community and build the community. Starting within the community and build it out.
Yeah, love it.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
We are just extremely excited about the two individuals that we brought on staff. Lots of energy, lots of good ideas, and we're just looking forward to bringing them to fruition. So one of the things that has happened in the last week is the town recently received their first half of their ARPA, the American Recovery Plan Act money. We got a deposit of $67,000 into the general fund late last week. Within our budget that will be presented October, November for your consideration, we'll have a breakdown of those funds and some of the things that we can and maybe should spend the money on. There are certain things that is allowed and are not allowed for use of the COVID money. I'll send you guys that to begin thinking about it, just to kind of see the general shape of the things that we can apply for. And then within the budget will be a breakdown of a suggestion. And then, of course, we can certainly discuss it. Now, the ARPA spending will be included in our budget, but does not have to be 100% decided during the budget process. That is going to be a separate thing, but in other words, I don't want to hold our budget up while we're discussing the ARPA money.
Okay.
So the budget will come out, and then we'll have the shape of it, and then we'll have the ARPA money as a separate fund to look at and spend on the things that we look at as priorities.
Right. So is it similar to like the SWAS?
Very much
Okay.
so.
All right.
Yes. Yeah. It'll be a one lump sum, and I think we are getting a total of 137,000 is what we're getting, or 134,000 maybe. So it's extra money. Tom?
No,
No?
I'm listening.
Okay, all right. I just didn't know if you had a question you wanted to.
That's just
No, I
its
just,
regular face.
Money like that is not free. It has more strings attached to it than it's got strings.
Yeah, it does.
I'm very interested in what the strings are.
Most of them is that you have to show what you spend it on using receipts and accounting for it, and then just spend it within the categories. And then you upload those documents, and they'll review them, and if they have a problem, they'll come and look at it. But as long as
Is this a stimulus or to pay us back for what we lost?
I think a combination of both. I don't know what the originating legislation was out of Washington, but my understanding is it's both to be a stimulus and then to boost the towns and those that have been doing the work. So, there will be a recommendation in there for possibly staff bonuses. That's something that we could do. Infrastructure costs. Filling in the
Broadband, I think,
gaps.
was one.
Do what now?
Broadband, I think, was one.
Broadband was one.
That's a good one.
Library programming, community center programming. The list is actually very exhaustive. There's a lot of things that you can use it for. Normally you can use it for all this, but you can't use it for this. The can't use it for list is pretty narrow on this.
So is it paid back, or is it?
No, it's a grant.
Okay.
It's strings attached, but no repayments.
Yeah, okay. Doesn't sound like the strings are necessarily onerous.
No, they're not. In fact, it's very easy. Out of the last CARES package, I do not think infrastructure was included, like water and wastewater. It is in this one. So that'll probably be one of the recommendations, is use a chunk of the money for wastewater, water or wastewater.
Can you apply it to studies or engineering studies that you've ordered?
I'd have to go back and look. Sometimes you can do that up to a certain percent of the design documents, design and planning documents.
Okay.
So I'll have to go back and look, but usually you can do some of it.
Yeah, because we've got about a $10,000 ticket facing us.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I do have an update on the back parking lot. Basically, we're going to push the construction back to January. I just didn't know if we could get it done in time for December. The county wasn't sure they could get it in time for December. And honestly, it works better with their schedule to do it when they can. They have come back with a price list. The original estimate that they had was $214,000. I think it's $214,000 to pave and construct the back parking lot. I think it's going to come in higher. It's going to be closer to $275,000. We have the money. It's available. We have it in cash to spend. But we're waiting on some final numbers. But I'm thinking it's going to be close to $275,000. And then we'll have a decision as a council to look at the finances and go or no go when the IGA comes from the county. And basically what the county is going to do is we will purchase items and materials through them, and then they will have the work camp do the labor. So we're getting a discount on the labor, and then the materials will come at their cost. So
This is the expanded map that we
Yes, sir.
showing the Beckham's backyard?
Yes, sir. Yep. And that looks great. I almost want to pull the map out again, or the plans out again, just to show them off. But yes, it is. It's the expanded version of it.
What did we ever decide about their well? Are we gonna be able to use that to water the?
Yeah,
gazebo area?
I don't think so. Integrated Science and Engineering sent one of their guys out there, and it's just a household well. He's talking he said we could test it, but he's thinking it's gonna be 10, 20 gallons per hour, a very low amount, hardly anything enough to power any boosting of our water capacity, unfortunately. We may could go back in and do some boring and go deeper to access a deeper part of the aquifer that has more pressure, but this is a hand dug well, or
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's not a straight bored well that's like that. It's, yay big.
This neighbor child falling into the well.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't, you thought about accumulating it, pumping it out of the well over time slowly into a holding tank and then using the holding tank to?
I would like to use that well for irrigation for the park, but we didn't build that into the original cost of it. But are you talking about a holding tank for drinking water?
No, holding tank, just a cistern that you could pump from that well, a slow volume into a cistern, and then whenever it comes time to water, you got this, you don't have a little bitty bit of water, you got a cistern.
It should be fine enough for watering.
Yeah,
Yeah, the quality would be fine for watering.
And I hadn't thought about the cistern.
You could do that, cistern, you could do a cistern and a pump, and that's, you're looking at, under $5,000.
And the budget for 2022 is going to include a public works position, so we would have somebody to do and manage that as part of it. So that, okay, I like the cistern idea. I didn't think about that.
And you could augment it with a pipe off of the gutters on the back of their house.
Yep.
You get an unbelievable amount of water off of a roof during a 1-inch rain.
And we could probably get some money for a demonstration project too, as far as a cistern and rain water collection system. We could probably find some money to do that, or find some private dollars to do that.
But something to think about.
Yep, absolutely. We do have 2 additional meetings this month. We have the first reading of the millage rate next Monday, and then the second reading of the millage rate the following Monday on the 16th. During those meetings, in my mayor's minutes, I will be laying out several projects that we've got going up that will be coming up towards the end of the year, things for council to think about as we are preparing for 22. I will be laying those out and providing actual hard copy materials for you guys to have and study and review. We're hoping to really we put a lot of things on pause over the last 6 to 8 weeks, 12 weeks, however long it's been. Now that we've got Floyd in place, we're getting the staff back into our regular routine and schedule, and we're going to have, it's not a backlog really of stuff, but it's going to be a backlog of information and materials, things that haven't been able to get to, but hopefully we can start pushing those out and pushing those down, and then you guys will have the materials that you need to make decisions as we go into the last part of the year. Do I have any other questions on anything that I have brought up or talked about? All right, if we don't have anything else from council, if we don't have anything else from the public, I will call for an adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
All right, Tom has the first.
A second.
Elizabeth has the second. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. We are adjourned.